Hello, 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 hello. Here we are. Wish I could zoom, but I don't seem to be able to. Okay, anyway, let's get started. Hour 2 from week 4, s20 YAFICFILM. Resuming. All right, so what had just happened was that the Count had suggested to Klaus, who understands the plan completely, to go and tell his sisters what had happened, what he had learned, and everything like that. And so he goes upstairs and starts to talk to, he believes, both of his sisters. However, when they try to specifically find Sunny, they do not find Sunny and are looking for her. And Count Olaf returns and says, you know, it's very strange not to find your sister here when she was here before. And I bet you would like to see something interesting, so let me, hello. Okay. I don't know what that was about. Okay, but come out outside with me to the backyard and I'll show you something surprising. Well, of course. And here's the line here. If you two orphans follow me out to the backyard, I think we will all see something rather unusual. This is the beginning of chapter 9. The Baudelaire children didn't say anything, but followed Count Olaf through the house and out the back door. Violet looked around the small, scraggly yard where they had chopped wood. The wood had not been touched. Violet, by the way, is in her nightgown since she just woke up. Now Count Olaf is looking upwards. And when he looks up, when Klaus looks up high enough, he sees that there was a bird cage hanging outside the window. I'll just read it. It was a bird cage, dangling from the tower window like a flag in the wind. But inside the bird cage, she could see a small and frightened Sunny. Violet says, let her go. She has done nothing to you. She is an infant. Count Olaf responds, well now, if you really want me to go, if you really want me to let her go, I will. But surely even a stupid brat like you might realize that if I let her go, or if, more accurately, if I ask my comrade to let her go, poor little Sunny might not survive the fall down to the ground. That's a 30-foot tower, which is a very long way for a very little person to fall, even when she's inside a cave. But if you insist, no, Klaus cried, don't. And Violet says, please, she's just a baby, we'll do anything. Just don't harm her. And Count Olaf, and this is the whole purpose anyway, anything, he says, would you, for example, consider marrying me during tomorrow night's performance? Oh boy. And Count Olaf explains, excuse me, I need more coffee than that. While you were busy reading books and making accusations, Count Olaf said, I had one of my quietest, sneakiest assistants skulk into your bedroom and steal little Sunny away. She is perfectly safe for now, but I consider her to be a stick behind a stubborn mule. And he explains poorly the metaphor that he's using. It's a common one. We know how Lemony Snicket likes to explain some vocabulary words that are harder than most in the process of telling the story. In this particular case, he uses an easy word and explains it with a harder word. He says, "Come now," Count Olaf said, his voice faking, a word which here means feigning kindness. Feigning is a much less common word than faking, but they mean the same thing, pretending. So finally, Violet is persuaded to save her sister's life. She says, "If you will let Sonny go, I will marry you." "I will let Sonny go," Count Olaf answered, "after tomorrow night's performance. In the meantime, she will remain in the tower for safekeeping. And as a warning, I will..." And here's a word that is definitely a mistake. I just used tell. "I will tell you that my assistants will stand guard at the door to the tower staircase," in case you were getting any ideas. Actually, these kids have a lot of ideas. Oh, I just love the writing. It's really good writing. Okay, here's chapter 10. All of these books, as I've said last time, each of these books has 13 chapters, except for the last one, which is called The End. So this is chapter 10 out of 13. Right. Getting closer to the end. Oh, now that makes me upset. Huh. Anyway, Violet is trying to figure out a way to rescue Sonny because she doesn't trust Count Olaf. So she goes and tries to figure out a thing. There's a specific kind of knot that had been invented by a group of female Finnish pirates in the 15th century. The name of the knot is the Devil's Tongue because it is very complicated. As she worked, she remembered something her parents had said to her when Klaus was born. And again, when they brought Sonny home from the hospital, too. "You were the eldest Baudelaire child," they had said, kindly but firmly. "And as the eldest, it will always be your responsibility to look after your younger siblings. Promise us that you will always watch out for them and make sure they don't get into trouble." Violet remembered her promise and thought of Klaus, whose bruised face still looked sore, and Sonny dangling from the top of the flower like dyslexia again, dangling from the top of the tower like a flag, and she began to work faster. Even though Count Olaf was, of course, the cause of all this misery, Violet felt as if she had broken her promise to her parents and vowed to make it right. Using cloth, she made a rope that was just over 30 feet long, which is long enough to reach from the birdcage down to the ground. That's the point. She needed a grappling hook. Let me find a grappling hook for a second. Thank you. Right. This is a grappling hook, and it is used, you throw it up to the top of a wall or something, hoping that the claws will catch on something on the other side of the wall so that you can attach a rope. Well, I mean, you should probably attach the rope before you throw the grappling hook, because otherwise you just throw it away. But once you do have the rope attached, you can fasten that grappling hook to something on the other side of the wall or whatever it is you're trying to climb up, and grab hold of the rope and you can climb up. And that's called a grappling hook. In the movie, I'm having a little trouble remembering the Netflix version, but in the movie, they have Klaus do this scene. And Klaus uses an old umbrella instead of a real grappling hook, but the function is the same and it actually does work. I'm going to put that together. Good. So she tried it a few times. How did she get a grappling hook? Let me find this. Well, according to this, she found a metal spider. I totally forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, she uses this metal spider, which was probably part of the decorations for the house or something like that, and used it as a grappling hook and finally used it and climbed up. She throws the grappling hook up, of course, to try to catch on something, and every time when it's not successful, it sounds like clang, the metallic sound that we use in text onomatopoeia to represent the sound of metal hitting something. The last time it just says clack and doesn't finish because it had hooked something. Right. I just really like that. That's good. However, it turns out that Violet's grappling hook had hooked onto another hook. It was the hook of the hook-handed man. Oh boy. Let me just mention something here. As we go on with this story, we learn bit by bit little pieces of information about Lemony Snicket, the narrator himself. For example, he says here, Violet looked around the dim and messy room. I'm certain that over the course of your own life, you have noticed that people's rooms reflect their personalities. In my room, for instance, I have gathered a collection of objects that are important to me, including a dusty accordion on which I can play a few sad songs, a large bundle of notes on the activities of the Baudelaire orphans, and a blurry photograph taken a very long time ago of a woman whose name is Beatrice. These are the items that are very precious and dear to me. Well, we remember from the very, very beginning that the book is dedicated to someone named Beatrice. I don't want to, oh wait, I could, because it's another document. I don't have to lose my place. Here it is. This is the book version is this. Dedicated to Beatrice, darling, let's try it again. Darling, dreamy, dead. This is the Beatrice that he's referring to now. Who is this Beatrice? We don't find out for many books, but we will find out one day. If you keep reading the series, and I recommend reading the whole 13 books. By the way, I have them on PDF if you'd like to read them. I can share that with you in case you're interested. I don't know how many people are interested, but in case you do, I can share it, because this is education. I encourage you to read for pleasure. All right. There are a few things. Oh God, there are a few things about the climax of the book, which is coming now, which we need to remember. I want to let me look in my. Oh, here it is. Carey of a series of unfortunate events produced by the same people, basically. Barry Sonnenfeld is the director. And the movie is an adaptation, basically, of the first 3 books in the series of 13 books. And the way book 1 is arranged, they do the introduction part with all of the beginning things, but they don't get to the climax yet. Then they bring in book 2 and then book 3, and then as the ending of the movie, they cut to the climax of book 1 again. But there's significant changes, and I wanted you to see the changes. Once we've seen the actual version, I just hope I can find this thing. I spelled it wrong. All right, let me see. I'm sure I have. All I'm seeing is that, just a moment. Hey, I think we got out of it, yeah. Here we go. That's the one. We got it. Just going to take a couple of tries. Oh, my mistake. The director is Brad Silbering. My mistake. 1, 2, go. Yay. I'll put it in the same folder. The movie adaptation was done in 2004. Okay, hopefully this will get us there. Oh, Narcos. Maybe around here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, good. Now, after we watch the Netflix one, which is closer to the original book, I'll bring us back and we'll see the changes that were made for the 2004 movie. Yeah. How are you doing there? Doing pretty good, actually. Surprise. Nice. One of the props, which is important in all of these versions, is a walkie-talkie. If you're not familiar with a walkie-talkie, it's like a... Do you know what a walkie-talkie is? You have a pair of devices with, it's for communication. You can press a button and speak into it, and the other walkie-talkie would hear what you're saying. Then when you release the talk button, the other person can press their talk button and talk to you, and you can hear them. So it's a communication device. Many times it has a long antenna coming out the top, so, you know, like a radio, to get a better reception. It's actually used pretty well in the movie, too. Nice, okay. Okay, it's going pretty nicely. I'll open up my downloads and watch it go. Go, go, go. Yeah. Good. All right. Oh, wait, I was going to do the picture of a walkie-talkie, of a grappling hook. Let me see just this picture. Okay. What do you say? No. Oh, well, I'll just do this picture. I'll do it later. All right, fine. So, I think let's just let it happen here. I'm going to start the video now, and we'll see how this goes. I have to leave this. Hard disk in here, so I'll just play it directly from the hard disk. It might as well. Where? Oh, good. I have the wrong folder open. Whoopsie. Oh, that's season 2. Let me just go. Oh, maybe this will help. Good. There we go. Sorry, wrong one. Let me remind you that the singer of this song is Neil Patrick Harris, who plays Count Olaf in this series and is an executive producer. Very good. That's Mr. Poe. He does not have the coronavirus because it didn't come out yet. So this is the scene they're going to that they've added to this episode to explain how come Count Olaf became the guardian and father, in loco parentis, of the Baudelaire orphans, the Baudelaire orphans. Yeah, right.
Gentlemen, could you bring the Baudelaire file in here, please?
Evelyn is another extra character added to
I'm sorry to say that the alleged entertainment you were watching is extremely unpleasant.
Gentlemen, could you bring the Baudelaire file in here, please?
From the beginning of this miserable tale to the last melancholy scene, I cannot think of a single line, a single word that does not show me to my deepest thoughts.
Gentlemen, could you bring the Baudelaire file in here, please?
However, the sad history of the Baudelaire orphans did not begin in the private, somewhat ill-decorated office of Mr. Poe at Monkshore Money Management.
Jacqueline, could you bring the Baudelaire file in here, please?
It's a great set.
Nor does their story begin on this gray and cloudy morning at Briny Beach, where the Baudelaire children, Violet, Klaus, and Sonny, receive terrible news.
Your parents have perished in a terrible fire.
In fact, the tale of the Baudelaire orphans begins long before the fire, which left the children with practically nothing to their names. Their story begins before their brief and unpleasant stay with the Poe family. It begins before the children meet Justice Strauss, a nice lady who, unfortunately, is not their guardian. And before the Baudelaire orphans were placed under the care of a terrible actor with a mysterious tattoo of an eye on his ankle, who made the Baudelaires sleep in an awful room, do a series of difficult and irritating chores, and cook dinner for his disreputable and largely untalented theater troupe, resulting in an act of violence that ought not to be shown on screen. Why, you may ask? Why did the Baudelaire orphans suffer through this series of unfortunate events? How did the resourceful and intelligent children of kindly and attentive parents end up in the care of Count Olaf? The answer, at least, to be found shortly after the fire that claimed the Baudelaire home. Inside the private, somewhat ill-decorated office of Mr. Poe at Mortuary Money Management.
Now, to people who know this series of books, watching this beginning is a total surprise because no one expected this. It's a brand new idea, special only to this series.
Jacqueline, could you bring the Baudelaire file in here, please?
Do you know what the question I'm asked most is? Will you please leave the premises? Why do I do it? Count Olaf, they ask me, why are you an actor? Why not a model or a millionaire playboy? Why respond to the siren song that the Spanish call El Theater?
For fame and fortune.
No.
For standing ovation.
No.
For the costumes.
Where are the costumes? Nobody brought the costumes!
And Olaf seems to be wearing just his undershirt.
Stay in the car.
Do I listen to the radio?
No.
Well, we've got to reach them. Try prune.
That's Jacqueline.
Yes, it's an emergency. I'm keeping an eye on things best I can, but... Let me call you back.
I have an appointment.
Name.
Haircut.
Haircut.
Yes, Sicko. Haircut is my name.
Yes, I get a haircut.
Yes, yes, Sicko.
There are many police inspectors, concerned citizens, and television executives who have expressed confusion as to how the Baudelaire orphans ended up in Count Olaf's so-called care.
Yes.
The scene you see behind me is called a flashback. That is a word which here means taken place during the events of the last episode, shortly after the Baudelaire fire and during the Baudelaire children's unfortunate stay with the Poe family. I present it to you now in the hopes that the police inspectors, concerned citizens, and television executives might finally leave me alone.
Hello, banker man. The Baudelaire fire is precisely why I'm here.
File, not file.
I said file. Allow me to introduce myself, because, as you can see from my mole, we've never met before. As you can see from my coat, hat, and ascot, I'm here on business.
As you can see from my sunglasses, it's bright out. I am here to consult with you on the Baudelaire will, for which I understand you are the executioner.
Executor.
Person who controls people's fortunes after a terrible fire has just happened. My name
Is Jessica haircut? That's strange. I have an appointment for a haircut right now. Jacqueline, please catch that haircut.
Mr. Poe, there's an urgent
You
matter.
know, I want to hear what this man haircut has to say.
Seem familiar? It should.
I'd like to make a withdrawal.
Well, I don't know, Mr.
Count on me to tell you my name, which is Mr. Jessica Haircut.
No, Mr. Haircut, the Baudelaire will states very clearly what is to happen in the event of the untimely deaths of Mr. and Mrs. Baudelaire. They are to be raised by their closest living relative, who appears to be a renowned scientist by the name of...
It's one thing to listen to science, Mr. Bankerman.
Oh,
It is another to listen to the advice of a consultant. And in my important, actual consulting expertise business, the phrase closest living relative can mean only one thing. Whoever lives nearby.
really? You think so?
I would stake my fortune on it, or my name's not whatever it is I told you it was.
Well, in that case, we're going to get him out of the city.
I think the person nearest the Baudelaires is renowned actor and handsome man.
It just says map of the city. Does not name the city. If you look at the map, it resembles the same tattoo of an eye that we're seeing everywhere. Clever.
Count Olaf.
Count? Never heard of him.
He's been favorably mentioned in theatrical reviews in several small magazines. His name is pronounced Count Olaf. And if I'm not mistaken, he lives right here.
Is that really the closest?
Yes, absolutely for sure.
Jacques,
It says my house.
can you please bring in a very large ruler? Jacqueline? Guess I'll get it myself.
These events in mortuary money management resulted in unfortunate events far and near. From a woman trapped in a remote park.
You'll never get away with this.
I already did get away with it.
Jacqueline is not in the book series, but she's done very well, and it's a great character.
The three orphans in horrifying circumstances as our story resumes.
Put some elbow grease into it.
Mr. Poe, some of the hormones.
Oh wait. Look at the shape as she cuts that wood.
The three orphans in horrifying
I'll try my best to get
circumstances
it
as our
exactly
story
right.
resumes.
Put some elbow grease into it.
Mr. Poe.
There it is. The symbol again. So many
In
details.
the horrible state when he took us here. There's no way our parents would want us in Count Olaf's care. We can't even call it that. As soon as Count Olaf's back is turned, we need to leave this house. I'd rather take my chances on the streets than stay here any longer. Who knows what would happen to us on the street? How they still leave a roof over our head. I wish our parents' money could be used now instead of when you come of age. Then we could buy a castle and live in it with all the guards patrolling outside to keep
This
Count
conversation
Olaf
is
from the
right out of
street.
the book.
Legend vending studio and the library.
Hurry up, orphans. There's reupholstering to be done.
Just as Strauss said, home is always open to us. He said her legal library was always open to us. It's not the same thing. Mr. Poe did say we could contact him if we had any questions. We don't really have a question, we have a complaint.
Can I hold that out for you? It also give you some very bad news.
What is it?
It's our secretary.
Not here.
emergency. Very well, but I'm quite busy. My old secretary, a distinguished professional who showed up without fail for many years, has vanished. I've hired an underemployed artist with no prior experience who needs the occasional day off for auditions and performances. Plus, I've already had to reschedule a haircut several times. What can I do for you?
Count Olaf is a madman. You can't stay with him. He struck Klaus across the face. See his bruise?
No, excuse me. Hold here. Yes.
No real bell
Yes.
could make that sound.
Yes. Yes.
Not a
Yes.
normal one.
Absolutely not. Thank you. I'm sorry, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, Count Olaf. I'm sorry you don't have a good first impression of him.
He only provided us with one bed. He makes us do a great many difficult chores.
That means he drinks too much.
Hold here. 7. 7.
Oh, I told you this one last week.
7.
6.5.
Anything that's 7. You're welcome.
Oh, they changed it a little.
Everyone at some time in their life wishes they were being raised by people different than the ones who were raising you. When I was a little boy, I would have given my teeth to be raised by an actor.
He calls us orphans.
You are orphans.
He has terrible friends.
I have terrible friends. Speaking of not understanding a word someone is saying. Baudelaire, are you familiar with the term in loco parentis?
Sounds like Latin.
Latin and legal. In loco parentis means acting in the role of a parent. It is a legal term and it applies to Count Olaf. The actor is acting as your parent. And as your legal guardian, Count Olaf may raise you using any method he sees fit, so I'm sorry if your parents didn't make you do household chores, or if you like their friends more than you like Count Olaf's friends. But there are certain things you must get used to. Now, I'm sorry if I have to usher you out post-haste, but I've got work to do. Post-haste means very quick.
We need to do nothing to help us.
Oh, on the contrary. I'll have my new secretary give you a ride home as soon as he's finished typing up that report.
I think we need to call the IT guy.
That man works for Count Olaf.
He did say Count Olaf was one of his professional contacts. It was good for you.
We're not going back to Count Olaf's house. Look at Klaus's face.
No, orphans. Look at mine. Should I let him off the hook?
Literally. Not figuratively. That's a nice take.
I spent all morning making these cupcakes for you.
Thank you.
Aren't raspberries delicious? They were my favorite berry when I was your age.
But we're all different ages.
I want to talk to you about something. I recently received a call from Mr. Poe.
Is that so? Sorry Mr. Poe bothered you.
I'm glad he did, because I want you 3 children to feel more at home here now that I'm your father. As you know, I have been working hard with my theater troupe, and I'm afraid I may have acted a bit standoffish.
The word standoffish is a wonderful one, but it does not describe Count Olaf's behavior toward the children. Standoffish refers to a person who, for various reasons, is not associating with others. It is a word which might describe
She's
somebody
very strong.
during a party might stand in a corner instead of talking to another person.
Wow. She's talented.
Gustav, Jacqueline here.
It would not describe somebody who provides one bed for 3 people to sleep.
I need to hear the name she says.
Gustav, Jacqueline here.
Gustav,
It would
right.
not describe somebody who provides one bed for 3 people to sleep and forces them to do horrible chores and strikes them across the face.
Therefore,
There are many words for people like that,
to make you feel a little more at home.
but standoffish isn't one of them.
I want you to participate in my next play.
Participate? How?
The play is called The Marvelous Marriage. It is by the great playwright YAFICFILM. We will give only one performance this Friday night. It tells the story of a very handsome and good-looking man, played by me. You, Klaus, and you, Sonny, will play two cheering people in the crowd.
But we're shorter than most adults. We're not strange to the audience.
You'll be playing two midgets.
And what will I do? Build the sets?
Build the sets. Oh, heaven.
My sister is very good with tools.
A pretty girl like you shouldn't be working backstage.
But I'd like to.
Sonny, Sonny, Sonny.
Violet?
Violet, Violet, Violet. You will be playing the young woman I marry. It's a very important role, although you only have one line, and I think you know what it is.
I don't.
No. It's I do.
Count Olaf.
What did you call me?
Father? I'm not sure I'm talented enough to perform professionally. I'd hate to disgrace your good name and the name of YAFICFILM. Plus, I'll be very busy the next few weeks working on my inventions. And learning how to prepare roast beef.
You'll participate in my theatrical performance. I would prefer it if you participate voluntarily, but as I believe Mr. Poe has explained to you, I can act loco parentheses.
In loco parentis.
Poco de laurentiis.
In loco parentis.
The point is, I can order you to participate, and you must obey.
Now go talk to the woman in the wood. I'll try to tell you a little more if you
I'll have to listen to that again to make sure what he just said. In the story, it is not cupcakes. Instead, it was hot oatmeal that they're eating. A little different, but the raspberries are the same. Okay, let me back up.
Now go talk to the woman in the wood.
Go talk to the something. Go talk to the woman in the woods is what it sounded like.
Now go talk to the woman in the wood.
Oh no! Go back to chopping wood. Okay, I was close.
I'll try to tell you a little more if you
I can't stand looking at you anymore.
Do you think you tried poison us with those raspberries? He ate them all. Besides, Count Olaf is after the fortune we will inherit. Killing us will do him no good. What good would it do to be in a performance of The Marvelous Marriage?
Marriage is like sharing a root beer float or agreeing to be the back half of a horse costume. Even when it's happening on stage, you should only do it with the people you love. I've never been married myself, and I once desperately loved a remarkably brave and bravely remarkable woman who, when I asked her if she would be my wife, found for complicated and unfathomable reasons she could give me no answer.
No answer.
Baudelaire, I'm so happy to see you. Are you here to continue your research?
Actually, Justice Strauss, we're here to research something else. Do you have any books on the theater?
Ah, the theater. I see you're settling into having an actor for a guardian. I have quite the interest in theater, you know, learning lines and curtsying for the audience and wearing costumes. I would give up every last wig just to wear a costume.
Justice Strauss, do you have anything on local ordinances?
Ah, local ordinances. Wait, are you sure? Even I don't like reading such books, and I work at the High Court.
I'm actually considering a career in law. I find those books quite fascinating.
Well, to each his own. There are countless types of books in this world, which makes good sense because there are countless types of people.
That's a line originally from the narrator, not from Justice Strauss, but it works well.
Son, would you like to come with me into the garden while your siblings tackle all this reading? Klaus, what's happened to your face?
We're trying to find out.
Well, I do have a section on rashes. It's right next to Chinese cars.
Chinese cars. They mentioned you guys.
Isn't it beautiful, boss?
No, it should be delicate fetching and a chiffon trade rippling down like
Like a waterfall, like an open wound.
Exactly. What?
Nothing else rhymes with Count Olaf.
There are plenty of things that rhyme with Count Olaf.
He's trying to sing a song, trying to rhyme something with Count Olaf, and it's a little difficult to think of anything that rhymes with Count Olaf. So they're thinking about it.
Rice pilaf.
Go.
It's a rice dish.
I just think even in changing context that marriage is an inherently patriarchal construction is likely to further the hegemonic juggernaut that's problematizing
Clear. Nudism. Nugget. Natural. Uh-oh. Gotta go.
So through, I couldn't see it myself, but through the spyglass that Count Olaf was just using to look at the book, he found the word nuptial. Like I said, it's not spelled nuptial, it's spelled nuptial. I don't know why people pronounce it that way, but I intend to find out. I'm going to call on Mr. Poe and ask him for help. He's always so helpful. It's me.
Are you leaving?
Justice Strauss,
Yes,
ask you something.
certainly. Oh, there it goes. Good. Yes, as one legal scholar to another.
The only notional requirements are a statement of active acquiescence by both participants, utilizing the loco parentis if necessary, and the signing of an explanatory document with the bride's own hand. Does anyone think it means?
Well, I suppose it depends upon what you think it means.
It means you're going to be a star.
Count Olaf.
Please, call me your guardian actor. Justice Strauss, you are about to find your drab, legal, beagle existence transformed into something mind-blowing and yet extremely classy when you become the exciting new face of the next Count Olaf production.
You mean?
You have got the star quality necessary for a small walk-on role in Al Funkut's new play.
Oh, I've wanted to be an actress since I was young, although my drama teacher told me my chances were slim because of my posture, and so I went into the law. But
Now you can see it. The curtain rises. The audience applauds.
Audience.
And you walk onto stage dressed as a judge. It's a very important part, although you won't be listed in the program. You will stand in front of a very handsome man, played by me.
I get to share the stage with Count Olaf.
While a stunningly costumed bride, played by Violet, stands beside me.
You are so lucky, Violet. All my life I wanted to be a bride, but it seems all the men I meet are intimidated by my law degree or obsessed with model trains.
A gorgeous bridal dress of my own design.
That's his handkerchief.
How you perform the entire wedding ceremony, getting each and every word exactly right, while we sign a document which you shall bring from City Hall for added realism.
Justice Strauss is up to something.
What I am up to is making Justice Strauss's dreams come true. You will suddenly find yourself in the enviable position of being a struggling actress in middle age.
It's almost too good to be true.
It is. Justice Strauss, Count Olaf is...
Count Olaf is welcoming you into his life by making you an important part of this theatrical enterprise. Truly, go. Go home. Spend some time with your new father.
It's time for a break, and so I'm going to pause the video. I want to mention, in almost, I think, every episode, there is a painting or something on the wall somewhere, always showing the same person. The person is Barry Sonnenfeld, the executive producer of this series. And he is also the executive producer of the movie as well. We can't see it at this moment very well, but I'm sure we'll get a chance, or I missed a chance. All right, take a break. It's me. Say hi to Wuhan for me.